ERT.
Five, four, three, two, one.
Right after the voyage was completed and we had ridden it and we were riding on the high of that, my dad came home and said, okay, we're building a steel coaster, and promised it to me by 2009, which just happened to be the year I was graduating high school, so obviously it was my graduation present. And I was very disappointed when I did not get that as a graduation present. But it was, in the works, and I knew it had been pushed off but not canceled or anything like that. And so when we got the opportunity, we decided to act on it. And
my dad really started thinking about building a steel coaster back, I believe he started talking to B&M back in 2007 even. He started talking with them, and he actually did come up with a few designs with them, talking to them. Obviously wing coasters weren't around at the time, so that wasn't even a technology that could even be explored. His main goal with a steel coaster was that he wanted to feel like the Ewoks in Star Wars. He wanted that feeling of just going through the woods, low to the ground and tight corners and stuff like that. And so he tried to get what he thought was the closest thing to it, but he never pulled the trigger because he just wasn't all that confident in it. Just he waited years and years and years to put in a water coaster because he was waiting for the technology to come around. And it finally did, and now we have wildebeest. So he didn't pull the trigger on it while he was alive, and so it kind of just went into a file cabinet for a while.
Holiday World Splashin Safari definitely likes to be innovative, and we like to be I like to say we like to be the ST of something, whether it's the tallest or the fastest or the longest. And in this case, we were kind of waiting to see what was the best thing out there that would fit into our market. We really target our market towards families. And as we watch the industry and we watch the different kinds of steel coasters that were coming out, the wing coaster seemed like it was a good fit. So then we started talking with B&M and said, okay, well, we want to be the first wing coaster. There's a lot of great wing coasters out there. Cedar Point has a great one, Dollywood has a great one, but we want to be a little different. Could we launch it? Let's get rid of lift hill. Could we launch it out of the station? And B&M came back and said, yeah, we could totally do that. So to be able to say we're the nation's first launched wing coaster, that's a big deal for us, and we're really happy and proud of that.
B&M is fantastic to work with. They've been great through the whole process. We asked them, hey, which way should this travel? Because initially it was going the other way, and they kind of said, well, if you switch it, then it's over the plaza. And so we said, okay.
Picking colors for this attraction was quite the task, I'm not gonna lie. We actually first got recommendations on colors for the track, and that's when we got the suggestion for the orange and the brown. And we got it, and we all looked at it, and we were like, and it was a group of about probably 5 or 6 of us, and we sat down and we were just like, okay, orange and brown, I know it goes with Thanksgiving, but I'm just not sure that it goes with the story we're telling. I'm not sure. And so we kind of stewed on it for a few days, and then we actually had a meeting where we had renderings. We had someone go and create renderings of what the track might look like in different color combinations. And so we sat down at a meeting, and we had 4 different color combinations in front of us, and by that point I had decided that the orange and the brown was what it needed to be. So we went into that meeting, and basically everyone had a different opinion. But I sat there and I'm like, okay guys, I really think that it needs to be orange and brown. I really feel passionate about this. And I stood my ground, and I got my way. And now I can say that even my sister will tell me that I was right on this one.
Finding the balancing act between whether we add to the dry park or whether we add to the water park comes down to, if you look at water park attractions, typically those rides do appeal to a wide range of age groups. And for that reason, the capacity on those rides typically are pretty high. So then you look at a ride like the Thunderbird, it's clearly a marquee attraction, and it's clearly, we hope, is going to really bolster attendance and bring more people here. So as our attendance grows, then we have to kind of shift our focus and say, okay, we have all of these people here now, we need to take care of them, so maybe we need to focus on the water park and do something to increase capacity. The last thing we want is for our guests to have to wait in line for a long time after they pay their money to come here to visit us. We want to make sure they enjoy their day the most, get the most out of their money that they possibly can. So it's balancing the two, and it's something that we look at on a daily basis and talk all the time.
I mean, I think any big investment that we make is a big risk. So, I mean, even building something like the Mammoth, things like that, they're a big risk, but I think this one is a very safe risk. We know our fans have demanded it for years, and so it felt like a pretty safe bet.
Putting in an attraction this size, it is a $22 million investment. It's easily, by far, the biggest investment this park has made, and for a family-owned park to make such an investment is definitely a huge risk. But I like to say that it's a calculated risk. We found over time and over the years, when we do put in bigger expansions like the Voyage or like the Legend, we can kind of trend and track the attendance growth that we need to have in order to continue to expand. And that's what we plan to do. We currently sit on about 110 acres. We have about another 90 acres to develop. So the growth availability is there. And I think with an attraction like the Thunderbird, while it's a risk, I think it's a very calculated risk. It's a fantastic ride and something so unique to anything anywhere else. And guests who have never been here before, I think are going to want to come and check it out. And once they come, they see the charm that Holiday World has, and we get those repeat visits and we get those those lifelong customers.
So we have a building here in the plaza, and it has a sign on it called Willpower, and it was actually the idea of one of our board members, Chip Cleary. He sat in a meeting one day and he said, you know what, this building that's going to house the flywheels, it needs to be called Willpower. We were like, what, Chip? And he's like, because of your dad. He's like, that would just be the coolest thing. And at first we were like, oh, Chip, come on. But then we started thinking about it. We're like, you know what? No, that would be a really awesome way to, remember him and bring him into this. But as well as the people who don't know or didn't know my dad, they won't look at it and be confused as to what it is. Not to mention, it's really exciting that the building is what it is, like that it's called Willpower, and it also houses the flywheels, because my dad would have totally geeked out over those flywheels. He would have known every part of them inside out. He would have known how they worked, and yeah.
The launch, a wing coaster, it's a heavy train. And if we were to take all of the electricity needed to launch the train directly off the grid, that could be enough power draw that we don't want to affect power quality for the rest of the park. So what we did is we purchased 2 flywheels, and it's essentially an energy storage system. So in between launches, we use power off the grid, and we spin up a large mast, the flywheel. And what that does is that stores energy. So when it's time to actually launch Thunderbird, that energy is converted from the rotating energy in the flywheel into electricity by a generator to power the ride.
Sitting in the train for the first time was one of the first times it got real. Every step of the process, it got just a little bit more real. Announcement day came, and we were like, this is happening. And then the first piece of steel went up, and we're like, this is really happening. And then we went and sat in the train, and we were like, this is really happening. And so it's just every step of the way, we were pinching ourselves the entire way, just going, this is real. We finished it, and sitting in the seat before our first ride, we were just like, this isn't here. What kind of dream is this?
I mean, obviously, it's a little like today, like realizing like this is happening. I mean, like you can look at paper as much as you want, and it's happening, but still seeing like physical, tactile things. It's just really putting it over the top and just knowing like this is happening. Like my dad's dream is, it's happening, you know, like we're doing it.
So the fly-through barn, it was fun to build. We have a lot of very skilled carpenters that work with us, and they loved the challenge. And when you build something like that, it's obviously important to make sure it's 100% safe. So what we did is B&M actually provides a clearance envelope. So the clearance envelope is, you know, if you're to stick your hand out, you know, to make sure that everything is outside of that reach. And there is a metal envelope, the shape of that we can attach to the track. So we actually attached that envelope to the track and built around it to ensure that there was nothing inside of that envelope, and we knew it was 100% safe.
Holiday World is known for really sending our coasters into the woods, so we knew putting in a steel coaster, even though it's steel versus wood, it had to go through the woods. It's characteristic of Holiday World. We couldn't let this one differ. So, like I said, we kept as many trees as we possibly could, and a lot of them have actually turned into near misses. There's definitely one on the right side you get pretty close to.
Being able to bring the Thunderbird to life is very, you know, poetic to me, because it's living a legacy. It's bringing a legacy to life that Will started many, many years ago.
I think our dad would be so proud. I think he wanted this. I don't know, you know, we keep talking about it and trying to decide. I don't know if the theming would have been nearly what it is, because he was very tight on budget. You know, he probably would have chickened out a little and probably would have cut some of the theming elements. So, but I think seeing it, he would have said, "You were right."
I think my dad, first off, would be thrilled, because I think this is the coaster he wanted all along. Absolutely. I think he'd be beyond proud. I think he'd be so excited to see all these people here, all these people wanting to come to Holiday World, all of the attention that we've gotten so far. I mean, I think he would have been so humbled by it, and obviously, I'm sure if he was here, we'd be hearing his notorious laugh.
We are starting to plan what's next, so I can't tell you what it is, and you know we're good at keeping secrets, but we are definitely looking forward to the future.